And a good Tuesday afternoon. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. We're looking at the big picture, of course, right now. And first thing first, this is, of course, Category 3 Hurricane Lee. It's going to be taking a track, making a little bit of a right turn as it gets north about the island of Hispaniola. And that right turn makes a northerly track until a jog. It takes it a little bit to the north and west and toward the New England coast. It looks like we could see somewhere along Maine the possibility of a landfall. This would probably occur somewhere about Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. Once the remnants of post-tropical Lee move off to the north, it'll turn northeast and it'll move away pretty quickly at that point in time. We are looking at the possibility of some gradient wind issues and also some enhanced rainfall. Most of this is really going to affect the eastern parts of New England and coastal New England. But we could still see some rain and also some gradient wind issues. We'll get to that here shortly. The other thing we're seeing, of course, is this area of low pressure. This is what's going to move this frontal boundary that's going to drag a cold front through the region. And we're looking at probably some enhanced moderate to possibly heavy rainfall in the form of showers, but there could be still a few embedded thunderstorms. All of this to take place, developing overnight, Tuesday night, into the really early morning hours, and then continuing through the day on Wednesday. That'll move on out by Wednesday night, and that'll get replaced by an area of higher pressure that should give us a couple real fine days preceding Lee and its arrival. GFS model on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have the mighty European. Here's the track. We have this system here that's going to be working on in and spreading in some showers during the morning hours tomorrow. It looks like the arrival time roughly during the morning commute. It looks like the shower activity could be moderate and possibly heavy, with the best chance for some embedded thunderstorm activity across the southern and eastern parts of the state, but potentially just about anywhere. This all is going to be shifting on out of the region for Wednesday night. This area of higher pressure is going to be building on in, and as it does so, we're going to be seeing this ridging and a nice offering of both Thursday and into especially Friday. Now, we're into the Friday night period, about 09Z. That'd be about 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. It looks like Lee is going to start to encroach upon our area. The GFS model here on the right, European on the left. So you can see a little bit of a left turn toward Cape Cod and kind of off of Cape Cod. This is valid about 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. Rain rotates in the region. We're also looking at some gradient winds. But we're basically on the weak side of the storm, but on the rain side of the storm. So unfortunately, some enhanced rainfall means potential flooding, but the best chance is probably along the Green Mountains and points east. Keeping the track here using the European and the GFS, I want to show you the difference, some of the different modeling that is not in agreement. So the GFS model, notice it's a little bit off to the right. European is one of the more outliers off to the left. But I think things are going to change that way because we have an upper level trough that's going to kind of tug at Lee and pull it a little bit closer to the coast. But it's basically a side swipe for eastern New England. So quickly looking at the Canadian model. Canadian model is a little bit off to the east. The GFS is a little bit off to the east. And the European seems to be a little bit closer to the coast. I'm still putting most of my money on the European, but that could also change and then track a little bit off to our east and not be too much of a problem for Vermont. Here's the 06Z GFS ensemble centered on the grid point of Montpelier. What we can see here is Wednesday's system. And we're not looking at a tremendous amount. This is then dries on out. We get a couple fairly nice days for Thursday and Friday. And then we're looking at the remnants of Lee. And, of course, the model ensembles are not always going to handle that very well. Precipitable water using the GFS centered on the Montpelier grid. You can see that we're up around 1.4 inches. That's getting into some moderate, potentially heavy raindrops, of course. And then things dry out with cooler and drier air working in for a little bit of autumnal fall football weather, basically for Thursday and Friday. And then we're into what could be the remnants of Lee. Looking at wind gusts atop Mount Mansfield, elevation about 850 hectopascals. You can see winds are up to about somewhere around 30-35 knots. So this is Lee right here, and it's rainfall as established by the Weather Prediction Center for the next 7 days of total QPF, total rainfall, accumulated rainfall. You can see still fairly healthy across parts of southern New England and into a portion of Vermont. Again, it's all dependent on the track of Lee. University of Maine Climate Reanalyzer shows that we're still seeing 2-meter temperatures slightly above normal, cooler in the interior areas, and again, some high latitude blocking, and that's supporting, unfortunately, more smoky forest fires out in British Columbia. But pretty much neutral for the meteorological output statistics over the course of the next 5 days of high temperatures only, and 3 days later it looks like this. So other than Wednesday's weather system pushing on through during the day tomorrow, we're looking at some moderate to heavy rain showers and a few embedded thunderstorms potentially in southeastern Vermont. But the main culprit to watch is going to be Lee. Again, Lee is going to take a track to the north and west, and then take a track somewhere around here, and then maybe scoot a little bit closer in making landfall somewhere in the vicinity of Maine, possibly the Bay of Fundy, and then New Brunswick, or maybe Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Looking at Lee's track here with the 51-member European ensemble, you can see how it goes to the north and then shifts a little bit to the north and west. But all of the 51-member ensembles are either at Cape Cod or points to the east. And of course, it's struggling with this little bit of a tug northwest bound, and then basically a right turn, and then into the Canadian Maritimes Lee will go. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.